Hey guys, my name's Cheryl Miller, and in these interviews, I'm bringing you success stories of people that have broken the mold and followed their own path instead of being limited by what others expected them to be based on their race, gender, or any other stereotype. So we know that when we internalize negative stereotypes, it affects our performance. So the people in these interviews have proven what you can achieve when you have a winning mindset. These stories are here to inspire you. So if you want to hear more, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out. So my guest for today is David Roberts. David is a businessman who is one of Birmingham's movers and shakers. To say he is a property tycoon would be an understatement. He's the owner and managing director of LG Properties, who provide project and building consultancy for a range of commercial developments. He's overseen projects all over the world and covers everything from acquisition, design, construction, and ongoing facilities management. So thank you, David, for joining.
That's an introduction.
I do try. I try. It's interesting actually, because I know obviously we've known each other now for a few years, but I would say of all of the businessmen, I mean, obviously you've achieved a lot and you've done a lot of stuff, but you're quite low key, if I put it like that.
Yeah.
That deliberate strategy.
Yes.
So tell me about, let's start at the beginning. So I would say, tell me about your early years in terms of, where you're from, what it was like growing up, and some of the really important influences on you.
Okay. I grew up in West Brom under Margaret Thatcher government, deep ingrained racism where I lived. I went to quite a rough day school, George Salter. And the one thing that really I clung on to through everything was family and football. Those were the two things that probably stopped me from going off the rails.
Right.
But, most days going to school and coming from school involved some kind of racial abuse. Being chased or fighting. It was just normal.
Right.
While at school, I was as classed as academic. I was in the top set for most subjects, and I think when I got to around 14, I started to go the wrong way, mixing with the wrong people. I think football I was starting to realise that maybe football is not going to happen for me in the way I wanted it to. My development.
Yeah.
We didn't at that time. There were no academies like there are now, and that the development structure, professional. Yeah. Where I was in my career, it wasn't going to plan for me, and that was maybe my little cry for help. But it was family that kept me on the straight and narrow. I came off the rails a little bit, and was a little bit naughty at sort of 15. But I completed my schooling and got decent grades. And because football wasn't happening, I just went into sport and studied leisure recreation. Became a lifeguard, swimming teacher.
Right.
And then it was while I was working as a swimming teacher, as a lifeguard at the Gala Baths in West Brom, someone handed me this.
I know it well.
Someone handed me this leaflet, and it said, "Try UNAC," which is Camp America.
Okay.
And that's what changed my life. At 19 or 20 years old, never left England. Poor family, never been on holiday. And Camp America was an opportunity to go to America. The flights are paid for, and I could teach mainly sports that I was interested in: football, swimming, archery. So I went to America. And that trip, after I finished on camp, I went travelling around America with some friends I've met.
Yeah.
Went to Daytona Beach, worked there, the junior lifeguard, but all of the independence, earning money in another country, meeting people from all over the world, just gave me maybe the confidence that I've lost in the last 3 or 4 years. And when I came back from America, I was 20, and I said, I'm never going to work for anyone again. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, and I'm not sure how, but I felt like I could rule the world. So I've just been on an aeroplane for the first time. That was different.
It really expanded your mind in terms of the possibilities, didn't it, I guess?
Yeah.
And why do you think it switched you on to not wanting to work for somebody else? What was it about that? Was it just like a freedom thing that you wanted, or what?
Possibly. I think I remember landing at Newark Airport, and then we got a Greyhound bus into Manhattan, and just the size of everything. Yeah. The buildings, the trucks, the pavement being about 3 foot high. Just everything just magnificent. And I don't know, I just felt like, looked around and I just felt like I'm missing so much of the world because of, I don't know, not necessarily my mindset, but the position that I'm holding, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I need to hold a different position, even though my mindset was always positive. Yeah. It may have been positive at just a lower level. Right. If that makes sense. Yeah. I'm going to study hard. This is what I would say. I'm going to study hard to become a lifeguard and swimming teacher, as opposed to I'm going to study hard to become a lifeguard and swimming teacher and then progress to owning my own leisure centre. Right. So maybe the going to America opened my mind to not necessarily wanting to be a lifeguard and swimming teacher for the rest of my life. Yeah. So once I came back, someone introduced me to this man called Takimbo Lee. And I've lost contact with him, but if anybody watching, you know where Takimbo is, please find him. And I'd really like to connect back with him. And you'll understand why when I tell you the rest of the story. So Takimbo worked at West Bromwich Afro-Caribbean Centre. Okay. And I can't even remember what his title was, but he would get people back into work. Okay. And he had access to certain programs for development, for education, and so forth. So someone sent me to have a chat with him, and he said, Dave, I see something in you, and that kind of entrepreneurial spirit at the time he was getting at. And he said, there's a program for the next the next wave of business youngsters, and it's at the Chamber of Commerce. But 2 things: you've got to go and study for 2 years, but you have to be unemployed for 6 months to qualify for the course. So I had to take the decision to leave my job, go and sign on, which is alien to me. I've always worked. Go and sign on for 6 months, and then you can qualify for this course, which if you didn't, if you had to pay for it, it would be in the region of about £8,000. Right. We're talking about 27 years ago. Oh. So I left my job, signed on, and he got me on the course. So I went to the Birmingham Chamber of Commerce for 2 years and studied business, passed, and everyone who passed, they were offered a grant. There was something through the Chamber of Commerce and also something through the Prince's Trust. Right. So I went for my interview with the Prince's Trust, and I'd written a business plan. The bank said it was fine. The Chamber of Commerce advisor said it was fantastic as well. I went to the Prince's Trust interview, and he said the business is not viable, so you don't qualify for the grant. Basically, I've finished the studies. I'm out there on my own with nothing. So I think I had about £800 in the bank. That was it. and I started business in Oasis, you know, the Oasis Market in town.
Yeah.
In the basement. They called it level 5, but it's the basement.
Yeah.
And my store was about the size of 8 shoe boxes. That was my shop. Yeah. I started with about 20 items of clothing. That was it. The shop was called Little Blighters, designer children's wear, and couldn't afford any staff. So I used to have there were other kitchens right next to me, adjacent and opposite. And I printed these flyers with my company name and what I sold, all the designer labels. And I used to say to the lady next door, "Could you watch my store for me while I just go and give some flyers out?" Yeah. And she said, "Okay." I used to run to the ramp in Birmingham, give out these flyers, and run back. And then these customers would walk in and go, "Have you got it, brother?" I'm sure I just saw somebody look like you on the ramp. And I said, I was dripping with sweat. So it was me. and that's how I started. Wow. And within 3 months, I'd outgrown the pitch, but they wouldn't give me a pitch on a higher level. Right. So I left, went and opened the shop on Dudley Road with my cousin called Street Life. Okay. And then Street Life, I did the children's wear. My cousin did the adult stuff. And we used to fly to New York every 3 months, bring clothes back. It's called parallel importing. Right. Bring clothes back and sell them. And that was quite successful. And then I moved on and opened the shop in town, Vanzetti, in 1994. I opened Vanzetti, 95. And then we opened Vanzetti and then Onion. But once I used to always look at market trends and all the rest of it. And I could see the mailbox was going to open. Mm-hmm. Armani, we're going to have a store in there. Yeah. A few of the big labels. And I knew it was, for me anyway, it was coming towards the end of the road in designer clothes, unless, took a different road. Mm-hmm. So I sold Vanzetti. And I was stuck. I wasn't sure what to do, but I've got a bit of money in the bank. And I looked at this childhood, not childhood, maybe when I was in the teens, I always thought it'd be cool to have my own club or bar or restaurant. Yeah. And I started to look into it. So I found this building on Hall Street. It was burnt out. And they said, the man that owns it, his name's Ali Raganese, found him. And I said, I'm interested in this building. I want to open a bar. I was all excited and had loads of energy about it. Yeah. And he said, okay, I like you. And he gave me the keys. He said, I'm going to give you rent free until you get yourself set up. And then I went away, started to do my research about how to open a club. And I was getting nowhere really. A couple of months I was getting nowhere. Anyway, I lived in Moseley, and every year on my road, they used to have this barbecue. And I never went to the barbecue ever because all of the residents on the road were mostly old. And this one year I just said, "Sod it, I'm going to the barbecue. I'm going to stop being antisocial." So I'm at the barbecue and I said hello to this guy, Patrick Casey, his name is. And then we just got chatting, eating burgers. And then he said, "What do you do for a living?" And I said, "No, I'm in between at the moment." Told him about the shop. And I said, "I really want to open a bar, restaurant, club type thing. I've got this building in the jewel port. I'm really excited about it, but I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I don't know how, design and all this of it." He said, "Oh, interesting." I said, "So what do you do?" I said, "I design bars and restaurants all over the world." And then he helped me. It took 18 months to get all the licenses in place and get it open. Yeah. And all this time, Ali Raganese never charged me a penny rent. I used to go and see him every month and say, "Do you want me to pay?" And he said, "No, don't worry about it. When you're open," even after I was open, got the place open, he said, "Have a few months, get yourself settled and get some money coming in. and then start paying. So that was Cafe Couture, opened in 2001.
Yeah.
And Cafe Couture, from I suppose looking back now, was probably a little bit ahead of its time, because I came from sort of a fashion background with clothes shops.
Yeah.
I wanted to integrate the two. So Cafe Couture had lots of fashion themes in there. It had mannequins with designer clothes on. It had a cocktail menu that was always relating to fashion and stuff like that. And some of the events that we put on, put catwalk shows.
It's a very almost like very New York, so very stylized.
Yeah.
Right.
But you used to get people walking and they go, I don't get it. Is it a shop? Is it a bar? And walk out.
Okay.
So, my friends would always support me, but it just wasn't going in the right direction quickly enough. And that was probably a turning point in business. All of the money that I had, most of it, put into the club. I had a house, a flat in Moseley, a really nice, lovely place, and a decent car, and all the money was running out. So I had to make a decision. I sold my apartment in Moseley, sold my car. I had a little bit of jewelry, sold it, paid all my bills, and I was left with, about £16,000.
Right.
And they used the £16,000 to rebrand, refurbish, and change it from Cafe Couture to Liquid Lounge.
Right.
And we went from taking maybe £1,000, well, I went from taking maybe £1,000 a week to like £8,000, £10,000 a night.
Right.
Just from that change. And that is where I think my life changed. But the sacrifice of the gamble, I suppose, I sold my house, sold my car, sold everything that was of any value, and I lived upstairs in a mouse-infested, empty space.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit embarrassed. People, see me going through the gate to go upstairs, and they go, "Oh, where are you going?" So I'm just going in the stock room. But really, I was going up there to sleep. That's where I lived. But I just had my vision. And then everything just, it wasn't simple, but everything worked out okay from there.
So you've definitely, you've had a few, sometimes I sometimes refer to people as guardian angels, but you've had a few, sort of whether, I don't want to necessarily use the term, kind of mentors, but you've had a few people along the way that really helped you at those critical moments to kind of keep forward.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to tell you another story real quick.
I'm loving the stories, David.
So to Kimbo Lee, after I passed my exams at the Chamber of Commerce, and I'd opened the shop in Oasis. He used to come and visit, probably every couple of weeks if he was passing, and we were in touch with each other. And then I moved to Dudley Road, and he used to come. Actually, he said he was coming to Dudley Road, and by the time I got to Dudley Road, business was okay. And he said, I'm coming to see you on whatever day it was. So when he came, I had a brown envelope, and I was really excited. It had a bit of, I'm not going to say how much money, it just had some money in there. And then I gave it to him when he arrived. And he said, "What's this?" I said, "Just open it." So he looked. He just looked inside and he said, "No, don't want it." And I said, "Why?" And I started to go through the history of how he helped me at West Bromwich Caribbean Centre, and got me on the course, and I'm doing okay. And he said, "Do you really want to pay me back?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, be successful and pass it on."
Wow.
Yeah. And that was probably the last time I saw him.
Wow.
yeah, I think we spoke by text, but he apparently he moved to London and we just lost contact. And then when I met Ali Raganese, that building in the Jewelry Quarter, he did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I feel like I'm in a position I can help people.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them all the same. I'll help anyone.
Yeah.
I don't want anything. Well, I do, but I want you to be successful. Yeah, and pass it on to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So and I guess so back then in terms of when you started Liquid Lounge, how old were you then? Were you still like, you were like what, mid-20s?
What was that? 2001. Yeah. I want to know how old I was. 31. I was 30. I was 30.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a 1970s baby.
Okay.
So, yeah. I was 30 and 31.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was probably a significant turn. Yeah.
How did you go from that to sort of what you're doing now in terms of the kind of world? So how did you move more into like the property space? How did that happen?
Another really good cool story. So at Liquid Lounge we used to have this night called Time Tunnel, old school R&B.
Okay.
And it was only once a month. Every month at 9 o'clock, doors open. These 3 girls would come in at the bar. They're first in and last to leave every month.
Right.
And then I think it was probably the 3rd month, I said to one of the bar staff, give those 3 girls a drink on the house.
Yeah.
So that was it. I didn't even speak to them. About 3 o'clock in the morning, they were still there dancing. And then the one came over and said, did you send a drink over for us earlier? I said, yeah. Oh, thanks. Are you the owner? I said, yeah. And we just talked. Oh, it's really cool. We love it here. We come here every month and da-da-da-da. And I said, so what do you do? And she said, it's not really as exciting as your job. So what do you do? I said, I work at Carillion. And I can't remember her job title, but she was one of the people that distributed the work that came from their main client at the time, which was HSBC. So she worked on a reactive and planned maintenance contract and gave the work out.
Yeah.
And at the time, my father-in-law had worked at Rover 30 years, got made redundant, and it was just given him a real pittance. And they gave him the opportunity to retrain as an electrician. So he was going into lots of flats and doing these horrible jobs. And when this lady told me what she did, I'm sort of good at spotting angles. So I said to her, I've got a team of electricians, which I haven't, but if I've got a team of electricians, can you get me work? She said, yeah, I have to get you on the supply chain, but yeah, I can get you work. And that's how LG started.
Right.
And basically, I called her on the Monday. I'd set up a company hastily. And remember, my club was called Liquid Lounge.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was trying to think, what name could I use? And I thought, Liquid Group. LG, that was it. It was as simple as that. I'm kidding you not.
Yeah.
Anyway, set this company up, and I needed to get on the supply chain. So I filled in what's called a PQQ, pre-qualification questionnaire.
Yeah.
And then you've got to fill in this 30-page application to the supply chain. And it's asking for the environmental policy, and all sorts of things. I have no idea. So I called her and it just came clean and said, look, I'm just trying to help my father-in-law. And she said, okay, I'll help you get in the supply chain. Wow. She got me on the supply chain. Well, she helped me fill the supply chain for me. Got on there, and then the rest is kind of history.
Yeah.
Work came, you would just not believe.
Right.
So my father-in-law, I sent him, I gave him the work, or the work came, but after about a week, there was just too much work for him. So I said, do you know any other electricians? And he said, yeah, I know one. So he called him.
Yeah.
Got 2 electricians now.
Yeah.
My friend at Carillion said, we've got some carpentry work. I said, I don't know any. So I called the other electrician. I said, do you know any carpenters? He said, yeah, I know a couple. I got 2 carpenters on board.
Right.
And it just expanded like that until there were 56 people working for me from that work coming in from Carillion. And then Carillion, I think after 2 years, the contract was up for tender. Interserve won it.
Right.
But my friend was 2P'd across to Interserve.
Yeah.
And I'm still on the supply chain with Carillion, so I got work from both. And it just expanded. Yeah, it just went really big.
Yeah.
To the point where I had to break the company up, and this arm of the company deals with the reactively planned maintenance. While that was happening, that gave me time to concentrate on developing. So I think while I don't have any background in construction or any of the trades, I used to just go on site visits and listen. Sometimes if you ask too many of the wrong questions, they know you have no experience, so just listen. And let the project manager talk, and just listen, and that's how I learn. And it just got to the point where even though it's a profitable business, it takes up a lot of hours, especially with CIS, construction industry scheme. Paperwork for that alone used to keep me busy. I was 56 people, so I was looking for an exit. So that there, I sold that business in itself. And I then went into buying freeholds. That was it, really. Wow. That's the story.
I'll tell you what, it's a story, and obviously I've done a few of these interviews, and I could literally just sit and listen to the stories. It's just so fascinating. But I want to talk a little bit about something we talked about before, at the top of the call, in terms of this paying it forward piece, this helping other people, so the mentoring piece, which I know often when I call you, David, it's like, David, I need help. like the whisperer, like the business whisperer. So just tell me a little bit about the mentoring thing. And something we were talking about was, I know you were involved in potentially sort of like mentoring, youngsters and that kind of thing. But I guess just talk about, from your perspective, the importance of mentoring and why that sort of thing is needed, and how we can do more of that.
Again, looking back at partly my teenage years, but also when I needed, probably when I needed someone to guide me business-wise, and the likes of Takimbo, the likes of Ali Raganese, there are without those people, I feel like, because I'm a determined person, I feel like I would have got there, but you will never know because the path is X. And those people helped me along that path. So I can only really go off, the path that I walked. And even if I'd made it, it probably would have been a lot more difficult without those people helping. So I just see it as I said, Kimbo said, be successful and pass it on. And I just see it as that legacy, that legacy thing that we, without dissing anybody, some of the older leaders probably not helped as much as they may have been able to. And that's that may be one of the reasons why the younger generation find it difficult. The helping hands, there aren't as many. But if we make it a cultural thing that we help, then it just becomes the norm.
Yeah.
We all help. And if we all help, it just means the generation coming up, they will all, not all, but many more of them will be successful.
Yeah.
And because they receive help, they'll help, and it just gets passed on.
Yeah.
But yeah, to that end, when I got to, or felt I was in a position that I could help people, it's the first thing I wanted to do. And I think it was in a barber shop, and someone, one of the other customers, we didn't know each other, and he mentioned to the barber he wanted to do something, some business, he wanted to get involved in business, but he didn't know where to start. So the barber said, "Do you know David?" And he said, "No." So he introduced us, and started to help him. And then he told other people that had helped him, and other people started to come forward. But that's how it started. Yeah.
So I guess you've done a lot of that sort of, whether it's formal or unofficial, sort of like mentoring and just helping people out and giving advice and stuff. Yeah, which definitely really important, particularly if you don't see any role models, that look like you kind of think, well, is it even possible? So it's
yeah, and it's strange because I still don't really see myself as a role model. Black people, we find it difficult to tell people that they're role models. To tell someone who you may look at and say, "You really inspire me."
Yeah.
You're not famous, but you inspire me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We find it difficult to say that to other people.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, it was 2 or 3 people much younger than me that said, "You really inspire me." I don't know, that made me want to help people even more, because you realise then, when people looking up to you, I think I'm young, and I'm not. So I think I'm still one of the young guys, and I'm not. I'm 50 this year. There's people who are 25, so I'm old enough to be their dad, but because you still dress young, you still go to bars and restaurants, and you know people. Yeah, but I do. I think I'm still young. I'm young up here, but I've been around a while and just don't realise. When I've had a shave, I'm a bit younger. So you think you're still. I feel like I'm like 30.
Yeah.
So these 25-year-olds, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to be the influence in their lives, because why would I? But when you hear someone say, I follow you on, whatever social media, follow you, and you inspire me, and I really look up to you.
Yeah.
Wow. But then also, if you take it the right way, it should empower you to help empower other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right in terms of, because obviously, as I've been interviewing more people, I've been, interviewing people of, all colours, genders, etc. But there's definitely something around, I think there's certain cultures that are very good at, supporting each other and bringing other people through, and it's just the way they operate. Whereas I think it's probably getting better, but it's quite slow. I think in the Black community, it doesn't seem to be the norm as much, that support of other, kind of like similar businesses, or kind of pulling the youngsters along. It doesn't feel as natural. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if you've got any theory on it.
Well, I think historically we haven't really been a culture or a community of business people at the level that we are now. Yes, there's always been some Black businesses, but in comparison to any other group, I think we are probably the least represented business-wise.
Yeah.
So there were very few people to even give out that advice.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was starting business, there was something called the BBA, Black Business Association,
Okay.
and that's probably where I met the first black business people. But the majority of them were micro business. It's just they're the only person involved in their business, and very small. And from week to week, some people would be there, and then you'd see them around, and how's business? Oh, I'm working for the council now. It just didn't last very long. So I think we just didn't have, and partly because they didn't have any support either.
Yeah.
And the majority of the businesses that were members of the BBA were micro business.
Right.
And at that time, we would probably have Chamber of Commerce, would have business advisors. Again, not to see the Chamber of Commerce, but the business advisors, most of them knew less than me. And I was young. Some of the business advice they would give, please.
Yeah.
So, if these business advisors, they've never owned a business themselves, it's straight out of uni.
Yeah.
So the support just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it needed some of the micro businesses to turn into SMEs, for them to be able to say, okay, I operate at this level. I can give advice to someone who's micro business, because I've been through it and been successful. And maybe that's what's happening now.
Yeah.
With some bigger businesses in our community. Yeah. So as long as these people do help, then the next generation will have that support.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I've never heard it explained like that, but that makes a lot of sense. I mean, does that mean that you're going to be re-establishing the BBA, David?
Hell no. No, there's a lot of politics.
I can imagine. Yeah. Oh, there always
a lot of politics.
There is.
Some good people.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of politics involved. I would prefer to just help people where I can. And I'd rather just help people without the politics, if that makes sense.
Interesting. So I'm almost wrapping up now. Do you ever have, so people see you from a distance, they see you on social media and they see this incredibly successful businessman. Do you ever have fears or self-doubt?
Good question. No is the honest answer. I think I consider, but no. I don't want it to come across the wrong way, being overly confident. But as a child, I was just a very, very determined person. And I very rarely looked at anything and saw the negative, even when there could be a war. I find there's a positive in it. And what we're going through now, this is probably a conversation for another day, but what we're going through now, I have pure positives.
Yeah.
As much as, we're stuck in the house, I found positives in all of it. And when you come out of it the other end, I'm putting things in place so that I'm going to be in a better position when I come out of it than when I went in. But it's down to being able to, spotting the angles or just turning negative situations into something.
Yeah. Were you always like that? I mean, you did say that, like, when you were a child, you were very determined. As far back as you can remember, have you always been like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest.
Right.
And all the hand-me-downs came to me.
Yeah.
And I think it was partly because, I'm not going to go into the story. any black family will know when you're poor, yeah. But I think when I was young, when I was little, I used to feel like the white friends got everything. They had bicycle for Christmas. They had the latest trainers.
Yeah.
And I had when I was 10, not 9. When I was 9, I had a milk round and a paper round, and that's how I bought Farrah trousers and Diodora trainers.
Yeah.
Because I had 2 jobs as a little boy.
Yeah.
But I refused to, just fit in with everybody who's got nothing. Okay, yes, we've got nothing because our parents just work their fingers to the bone, very little money, keep a roof over our head and feed us. But if that guy can have it, why can't I? Yeah, just because he's white doesn't mean he's entitled to it and I'm not.
Yeah.
But I just have to work. That's all. I just have to take this paper round and this milk round, and I've got it might have only been £20, £20 a week.
Yeah.
But it's enough to buy $16.99 trousers.
I remember those Farrah trousers.
Yeah.
Because even the girls used to wear them, didn't they? Farrahs. Yeah, that is fascinating. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned?
Trust. And loyalties. But if I was going to advise someone starting in business, 2 things. If possible, pursue something that you actually enjoy anyway.
Yeah.
Because let's just say you opened a designer clothes shop. There were going to be days where Tuesday's takings were really poor. Wednesday's takings were really poor. Thursday, when you get there, it's winter. It's -4 outside. It's snowing and it's freezing. There's no motivation to get up because the last 2 days have been rubbish and it looks awful outside. But if it's something you love, you'll be motivated. Yeah. That's the first thing. It can't always be like that, but if possible, do something that you already enjoy, that you do for nothing, basically. And it will be easier to motivate yourself. Yeah. And the second thing is never give up. And if you're sure, there's people that have taken on something that people are unsure about. But because they were sure, they convinced the other people. Yeah. And then they convinced everyone that they came into contact with, to the point where the thing may not have worked, but they were so sure that it would work, it worked. Yeah. And I saw it happen with a business that wasn't really viable, but it worked. Yeah. But this man just had so much energy and convinced everyone around him he needed, in his network, and it worked. But he didn't give up, and it maybe took him something that everyone would see as conventional and viable. Yeah. Would have taken off in maybe 6 months. It may have took him 4 times that, 4 times as long, because he needed to convince everyone. But he didn't give up. He could have given up after 6 months, a year. He never gave up, and he came good. So that would be another thing. And I mean, for me, even that club, I never gave up. I never gave up on what I believed. I never gave up on. There were bad days, even when it was liquid lounge. There were bad days, but I never gave up. And the same with property. Yeah. There were bad days. Yeah, with voids. I developed a building, spent a fortune. The tenant came, the proposed tenant came 2/3 of the way through the build and said, "Would you change these things for us?" Yeah. Okay. But you need to sign a lease. So heads of terms, lease signed, they're in. I made some significant changes to the build, and then they took the building and went out of business in 3 months.
Wow.
And the building had been adapted specifically for them.
Right. Yeah.
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 And they're gone.
Yeah.
And the building, it has to be. I had to spend money again.
Yeah.
To sort of, readjust it so that anyone from a specific sector could take it.
Yeah.
So there's hits, but when you have a certain mindset, that's just never going to stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had all sorts, even in the club game, when the smoking ban came in.
Yeah.
It was the end for many clubs. But you just have to readapt.
Yeah.
And the same coming out of this epidemic.
Yeah.
We've got to look at remote technology. We've got to look at app-based technology. We've got to look at AI.
Yeah.
And the people that take on board these things and embrace the technology, they will probably be more successful.
Yeah.
And I don't care what business you're in, you're going to have no choice.
Yeah, you got to adapt. You got to adapt.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's a perfect note to end on, I think, David. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. That was riveting. I could have sat and listened to your stories for ages. And it's a quick thank you because you've been somebody that we've definitely found inspiring. And yeah, those times that I've kind of called you and it's like, David, I need help with something. Often you are sort of the first person that we think of when we've got an issue, and you're always so positive. So so thank you for that as well.
Welcome.